happens to be a very special day for worms. It is the 69th day of the year, and it's the 69th day of my doing the global warming vlog. But 69 has a special significance in the case of worms, which we're going to find out about. I happen to have with me my good friend and fellow screenwriter and novelist, Gabrielle Debert-Pailly. In addition to being a writer, Gabrielle was for 27 years a high school science teacher. So who better to explain the magic of worms and 69?
Hi, thank you for having me, Lauren. I was a biology and a chemistry and environmental science teacher for 27 years. And when I taught this particular little lesson that I'm going to share with you today, all my students said, "Ew, it's so disgusting." But when I saw them years later and I asked them, "So what did you remember from my class?" They would say, "Oh, that talk on that thing about worms and slugs and snails." It's going to be short, but it's on the sex life of worms and slugs and snails. And they're very odd. I have to give a little disclaimer that if you have children watching, you might want to watch it with them to discuss it or use discretion. The snails and slugs are called gastropods. That's the phylum they're in. Worms are in a different class of animals called annelids, long segmented creatures, but both of them have very unusual ways of reproducing. These animals are hermaphrodites, which means that all of them are both male and female. There are two worms here. This is the clitellum of one, and this is the clitellum of the other. And they inject sperm into each other to fertilize each other's eggs. When they're little, they don't have the clitellum, that's the sexual organ. And then they start to grow. This is a juvenile, and then they develop that clitellum. Once they're ready to reproduce, they rub against each other. All of them have sperm and eggs. They need two of them to fertilize each other's eggs. So they both eject sperm to fertilize the other one's eggs. And then inside the clitellum, the little egg sacs start to grow, and then they shed them. And then you get these cocoons or egg casings. So that's basically how they do it.
We had an unplanned guest, so I want to introduce people. This is Kiku.
Oh, cutie.
She just couldn't stay away from the action.
Okay, well.
Oh, I don't know anything about slugs and snails.
I don't like them very much. They're slimy and gross, and they eat my vegetables in my garden. I don't like to see them. I used to get rid of them with beer. They really love beer. I would put a little tray of beer in my garden, and they would drunk and they'd fall in and they would drown. So they have an even weirder way of having sex. They have these enormous penises that emerge from their necks.
Oh my God.
And
that's not a penis, is it?
It's a penis, yes.
What?
And they have to be in pairs. There's two in each of these pictures. And then the two penises sort of wrap around each other and eject sperm into each other. And then those sperm develop into eggs, which they lay. And then the penis will also recoil and go back into the slug's body. But they could be like this for for a long time. You can sometimes, I've seen them on fences and stuff. They hang out. The great thing about science is you don't have to believe anything I'm saying. It's based on evidence and data and proof. So the best thing to do is to observe them. Look at your worm bin, look at.
So you're saying I should get some snails
or just the ones in your garden or out in the grass, or the worms on the sidewalk. Just observe them and see if you can see how they do. So yeah, that's about it.